Welcome back to BikeBeat. Today we're looking at Suzuki's brand new 2026 V-Strom 650, a bike that's been one of the most dependable names in middleweight adventure touring for 2 decades. Suzuki says this new version refines everything that made the 650 such a loyal companion, while bringing the design and tech closer to the 800 class machines. On paper, it's not a revolution, but what it promises is smoother performance, smarter electronics, and an even better balance between touring comfort and everyday usability. At first glance, the 2026 model looks sharper. The familiar adventure beak profile remains, but the fairing lines are cleaner, the LED headlight has a new twin-stack signature, and the body panels look slimmer and more muscular. Suzuki hasn't gone radical, it still looks very much like a V-Strom, but a version that's been to the gym and the design studio at the same time. The fuel tank has sculpted edges that make it easier for the rider to grip with the knees, and the seat transitions more neatly into the tail section. Fit and finish feel solid, paint, fasteners, switches, everything seems well put together. It gives you that reassuring sense that this bike is built to last. Hop on and the ergonomics feel instantly natural. The seat height hovers around the same 830-ish millimeters as before, maybe slightly adjustable depending on market. It's upright, roomy, and relaxed, the kind of posture that lets you ride all day without cramping. Suzuki's worked on the seat foam and the wind protection too. The screen is now tool-less adjustable in several steps, and it does a better job of directing wind over your helmet. At highway speeds, the cockpit stays calm and quiet, with less buffeting than before. The big question everyone asks, did Suzuki change the engine? The answer is that the heart remains familiar, the 645 cubic centimeters 90-degree V-twin that's been one of the most loved motors in this segment. It's been refined to meet the latest emissions rules, and Suzuki has reworked the fuel injection and throttle mapping. It now uses a fully ride-by-wire system, giving smoother response and allowing different ride modes. You still get around 67 horsepower and about 60 Nm of torque, but the delivery feels silkier. The low-end grunt is easy, perfect for slow corners or urban commuting, while the mid-range surge still makes it fun when you roll on the throttle. That's always been the magic of this twin, it's never intimidating, but it's never boring either. Power goes through a 6-speed gearbox that remains one of the slickest in the class. The clutch is light, and Suzuki's low RPM assist system helps beginners or tired tourers by raising revs slightly as you pull away, preventing stalls. On twisty roads, the bike pulls cleanly from as low as 3,000 revolutions per minute, and you don't need to chase redline to have fun. It's not a powerhouse, but for real-world riding it's near perfect. Suzuki has fine-tuned the chassis too. The aluminum twin spars are carried over but lightened in key spots, and the subframe has been strengthened to handle luggage better. Up front you get 43mm telescopic forks with revised internals, and the rear monoshock has remote preload adjustment so you can tweak it quickly when loading up for touring. The damping feels better balanced than before, firm enough for twisties, compliant enough for bad roads. With its 19-inch front and 17-inch rear wheels, the bike keeps that ideal mix of stability and agility. It steers easily at slow speeds and holds a line beautifully in corners. Braking remains reassuring, dual 310mm discs at the front, single 260mm at the back, with ABS standard and traction control adjustable through the dash. Depending on the region, you might also get cornering ABS using a 6-axis IMU. On dry tarmac, stopping distances are short and feel progressive, and on gravel, ABS intervention is smooth, never abrupt. Speaking of gravel, the V-Strom 650 has never pretended to be a rally bike, and the 2026 model doesn't change that philosophy. It's happiest on paved roads, broken tarmac, and light dirt. The XT trim continues to come with spoke tubeless wheels that shrug off bumps better, while the base model sticks with cast alloys. Either way, ground clearance is enough for mile trails, and the engine bashplate plus handguards on the XT version add confidence for exploring backroads. Suzuki's also stepped up the electronics. The new full-color TFT display replaces the old LCD unit and brings smartphone connectivity, navigation prompts, and customizable ride data. You can toggle between ride modes, say, Sport, Touring, or Rain, each with different throttle sensitivity and traction control levels. It's intuitive and doesn't overload you with tech for tech's sake. Cruise control remains optional in some markets, which might disappoint a few long-distance riders, but the rest of the package feels well thought out. Performance on the road is classic V-Strom, predictable, planted, and easy. The 650 cruises happily at 120 km per hour with plenty left in reserve, and vibrations through the bars and pegs are minimal thanks to that naturally balanced V-twin layout. Overtaking is straightforward, the torque curve means you rarely need to downshift. The engine note has a gentle growl that turns into a smooth hum as revs rise, not loud, just satisfying. Fuel efficiency has always been one of the strong points of this model, and Suzuki claims small improvements again this year. Expect around 4.3 liters per 100 kilometers, giving a realistic range of 350 to 400 kilometers from the 20-liter tank. That makes it a superb touring partner, fewer stops, more exploring. Comfort is another area where Suzuki has clearly listened. The wider seat base, better padding, and refined suspension make long days easier. The handlebar sits at a natural reach, and vibration levels are almost non-existent through the grips. Pillion comfort is decent too, with solid grab rails and a flat perch that doesn't feel like an afterthought. Add a set of factory panniers, and you're looking at a bike that can handle a cross-country trip straight out of the showroom. When you ride it back-to-back with the previous model, the difference isn't about raw speed, it's about polish. The throttle feels smoother, the suspension responds quicker, and the overall refinement gives you that sense of maturity that comes from years of small but clever improvements. It's that Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, incremental evolution toward perfection. On a twisty mountain road, the 2026 V-Strom feels light on its feet, easier to flick than the spec sheet suggests. The steering is neutral, and mid-corner stability inspires confidence. Even fully loaded, the chassis doesn't wobble or weave. The braking feedback is consistent, and you always know what the tires are doing. It's not an adrenaline bike, it's a companion, steady, capable, always ready to go wherever you point it. Now, let's talk money. The outgoing 2025 V-Strom 650 started around $9,500 for the base model, and just under $10,000 for the XT version. Expect the 2026 bike to creep a few hundred higher, say roughly $9,799 for the standard and just over $10,000 for the XT, depending on your region. Even at that, it remains one of the most affordable ways to get into the adventure touring scene with a full-size twin-cylinder engine and proven reliability. So who is this bike for? It's for riders who want adventure styling and capability without the intimidation factor of big-bore ADVs. It's for commuters who want a comfortable, dependable machine that can double as a weekend explorer. And it's for tourers who value simplicity, reliability, and efficiency over sheer horsepower. The V-Strom 650 continues to be the sensible choice, but now with enough modern polish to make it desirable, not just practical. If there's any criticism, it's that Suzuki plays it a bit safe. Hardcore off-roaders might wish for longer suspension travel, more advanced electronics, or a bump in displacement. Tech junkies might miss semi-active suspension or adaptive cruise. But that's also its charm, it doesn't try to be everything. This has been BikeBeat. If you enjoyed the deep dive, give it a like, hit subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you take your V-Strom first. Until next time, keep the throttle steady, eyes on the horizon, and ride safe.